Here at Paddy Power, we're the home of the Money Back Special, with some incredible offers every single week. Check out the website or app today. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus begambleaware.org.
Hello and welcome to the Racing Review Postcast. I'm Jonathan Harding and I'm delighted to be joined by Tom Collins and Tom Nugent as we look back on what was a highly informative weekend of racing. The logical place to start will be Sandown and that impressive victory by Defi Desoy. Tom, did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, I love Defi Desoy. He's probably my favourite jump horse in training at the moment. He's brilliant. He's game, determined, has the ability and a perfect jumper. What more can you ask for with a Grade 1 horse? He looked like he was kind of folding up in the final 50 yards, but I was already celebrating by that point. I was in Prague and I was throwing my Czech Karuna up in the air. Barry Geraghty gave him a great ride and it was a fantastic race to watch.
Yeah, and Tom, looking at the Caspian Chase picture after that, with Altior away flirting with those longer distances, you've got to think maybe there's a vacancy for a top 2-miler. Does this lad fit the bill, do you think?
He definitely has a right to be considered. Altior still tops the anti-post Caspian Chase market at 3-1. Defi Desoy is 4 from 7. But there's another horse in there at 4-1 who everyone in Ireland is pretty much talking about at the moment, and that's Shaker and Poursois, who we might come on to talk about a little bit later, but he's 4-1 and 7-1 and bigger the rest. But it was a fantastic race and it was brilliant to see Untitled run so well and another blinder from waiting patiently as well. So 3 very good horses and it made for a really, really good finish. But I have to say, just Untitled, he is what an absolute hero he is. Just absolutely loves the game, cocks his jaw and runs away like a mad bastard every time he runs. He's a great horse to watch and he's one of my all-time favourites, I have to say.
Yeah, it was an absolute thriller there at Sandown and some fantastic racing on the card. We had Esprit de Large in the Henry VIII Novice Chase as well, who joins quite an illustrious roll of honour there that includes Altior. A first Grade 1 win for trainer Evan Williams and quite an exciting one, TC.
Yeah, another good race. I don't think it's really up to Grade 1 standard. I think we've seen better editions of the race in recent seasons. But it's fantastic for Evan Williams and Adam Wedge to get a Grade 1 winner under their belt. And we saw them again to great effect later on the card. I thought Torpedo was a bit disappointing back in the field. It's not a race I'd use for future Grade 1. Like, I wouldn't look back at this form and go, this is going to work out extremely well. But Esprit de Large, you can't fault him. He's obviously built on his last time out success. And he could be anything if Evan Williams can continue to keep him on the upward curve.
Yeah, and Evan Williams was not really being drawn on a target, but some introductions to the Arkle market. Tom, is he a possible contender? I know it's early days.
Yeah, he gets a quote of 20-1 first show. Look, he'll probably run in the race, but I tend to agree that I wouldn't be considering this to be outstanding form with a view to the festival. But in its own right, it was a good race. I thought Nube Negra ran an absolute blinder for the Skeltons, and I just thought maybe Harry switched him a couple of times when he didn't need to. And on better ground, I'd actually fancy him to have a better go at reversing the form with Esprit de Large. But look, it's great for Evan Williams and Adam Wedge to get a Grade 1 under the belt, yeah.
Yeah, and TC alluded to it there a bit earlier on about Matt the Man as well in the handicap hurdle. Evan Williams had a fantastic day, a great day for the yard when he won that listed handicap. TC, any thoughts on that performance?
Yeah, well, Matt the Man's obviously kicked on massively this season in handicaps. He's chucked in off his rating, wasn't he? He just loomed up there on the bridle under a really confident Adam Wedge. Obviously, he is after first Grade 1 success. He wouldn't be confident after that. And he was just swinging away. He kicked clear. I was really interested in the second, Protectorat for Dan and Harry Skelton. I think he's one to look for going forward. He's really well handicapped as well and maybe just bumped into one. So, it's a good race. It'll probably work out quite well and I'll be keeping an eye on the front two next time out.
Yeah, we saw some fantastic racing at Sandown and we also saw the slightly less glamorous side of racing in the London National with 7 riders receiving bans for failing to adhere to a yellow flag when that race was voided. From a bookmaker perspective, Tom, what does that delay do to you guys on your end?
Look, you just try and resolve the issue as fairly and as quickly as possible for everyone concerned. But I think from an actual operational side on the race day, it's a conversation for the professionals. Obviously, something needs to change. I know that the bans being dished out are possibly going to be be appealed, but something clearly needs to change. Whether or not they didn't see the flag, is something needs to change. It needs to be absolutely crystal clear that when a race is voided, all the jockeys can very easily see that they need to stop and they need to pull up as soon as possible for safety.
Yeah, and the BHA mentioning perhaps adjusting their procedure. TC, did you have any thoughts on what you saw?
Well, I've tried to watch the race. I didn't actually see it at the time. I've tried to watch it, and there are no replays around. So I find it tough, to be able to see the exact instance what happened on Saturday. But I've seen void races in the past, and sometimes jockeys stop, and sometimes they don't. Surely we've got a better solution than just a man with a flag. No, there must be something that will help jockeys realise that they have to stop the race. They can't end up finishing the race. Horses have won. Connections are still celebrating because they might think that the race is actually going to count, and it doesn't. So look, it's a waste of time, especially bookmakers and punters as well. Last race of the day, they had to hang about. It was dark. It's just fast, really, isn't it? And we should be doing better than that, I think.
Well, fingers crossed to a solution to that. Plenty of Cheltenham clues on offer at Sandown, but up at Aintree, it's more all about the Grand National. And Walk in the Mill, wonderfully consistent horse winning the Beecher Chase for the second time. Does he strike you as a national contender, TC?
I really like Walk in the Mill. He's a horse that I've followed for the last 2 or 3 seasons, just trying to pinpoint where he's going to win a race. And he's just so game and gutsy. He was under pressure miles out in the Beecher, and he still just rallied and kept going, plugging away. He made a mistake at one point. It looked like he was going to drop back through the field, but he just found his stride again, got back into rhythm and stayed on really grittily to win. He obviously was 4th in the Grand National last year behind Tiger Roll, beating 16 lengths, I believe. Look, he's a contender again this year. He's going to be aimed at the race. And I thought it was really impressive and a nice prep run for him.
And Tom, in the Grand National market, I know it's early days. Has there been much support for him at all?
I'm not sure about the liquidity in the market, but as a result of his win, the traders decided to halve his price. He's 20s from 40s Walk in the Mill. And of the ones in behind, I thought Alpha de Zobo ran an absolute blinder off of 159 for a long way. So he'd be one to watch out for with a view to the centrepiece in April.
Yeah, and looking ahead to April again, a possible Topham contender in Hogan's Height, who won the Sefton. Slightly forgotten in the market, TC, at 16-1.
Yeah, he was underestimated in the market before the race, but he hadn't really shown much on his previous starts. So I think he kind of went off the right price, but he did make punters look a bit foolish with that impressive victory. He is a contender for the Topham. I think if he runs as well as he did there, obviously the national fences kind of sparked him into life. I think he's a player come April. I also think Adam May, who was 6th in the earlier race, the Beecher Chase, I think a drop back in trip will suit him as well. And he ran so well and enthusiastically for a long way. I think he's a contender as well.
And Tom, your thoughts on that race? Is there any in behind that caught your eye, or any sort of Topham contenders at this early stage that might be of interest to you?
Not to be honest with you, I wouldn't be. I've got bigger fish to fry now in the medium term than to be looking ahead to the Topham. So no, nothing for me at the minute.
And arguably the biggest blockbuster performer on the card, Native River, really interesting battle, or what could have been an interesting battle with Mike Bite in that Many Clouds chase. He absolutely demolished the field, really. He's so consistent, TC.
Yeah, it was kind of a non-event once Mike Bite unseated Nico de Boinville, which was a bit of a disappointing culminated into the bit of a disappointing factor because Black Corton didn't run up to his rating, did he? On the weight, and given he was a receipt of £6 from Native River, he should have been banged there at the finish, but he was stuffed by Colin Tizard's fantastic chaser. And I don't know what you guys think, but I thought the blinkers kind of revitalised him and sparked him up. He seemed to jump really well, in my opinion.
Tom, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, look, he jumped quite well, but I couldn't be possibly getting anyway excited about it as a race. I mean, the organisers must be slightly disappointed just from a kind of a spectacle perspective. I mean, as the most exciting part of the race was when a loose Mike Bite nearly jumped up his arse jumping the last, so there wasn't too much else to get excited about, to be honest.
And TC, a few targets for Native River. Where would you like to see him? You know, Welsh National, Grand National, Gold Cup. He seems to be able to do it all.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic to see him in any of those races because he's a fan favourite, isn't he? And no matter what race he'll turn up in, the punters will be on side. And he always produces a game. He always goes from the front and he's game. He gives everything. And if you back him in any of the races, you know that he's going to be banged there at the finish. I'd like him in the Gold Cup, although I don't think he'll win it. But we'll see what Colin Tizard does with him, and he's a fantastic horse.
Tom, and the Grand National, any price for him, about him for the Grand National?
Yeah, he's a 20-1 shot for the National at the moment. He does look more that national type. I mean, he's not a flashier, particularly high-class individual. Even though he is a Gold Cup winner, he does look to more just be an out-and-out stayer. And it'll be interesting to see if they head for the Grand National in April.
And it was an action-packed weekend with 3 big meetings yesterday as well. And at Cork, there was a small field for the Hilly Chase, but Silas Emery, really impressive winner there, TC.
Yeah, it was an impressive display. Willie Mullins does so well with these horses, and he's won the Hilly multiple times with real class animals. He's probably done it again with Silas Emery. I'm not sure where he's going to go in the future. He's not a horse that's really taken my eye in the past. I don't know about anyone else. He's not really for me. He was impressive, but he's not down on my shortlist for any big Grade 1s coming up.
And Tom, you mentioned Chacun Pour Soi earlier. Willie Mullins with a familiar embarrassment of riches in the chasing division. Where does this lad fit into that?
I think Willie Mullins has actually got a weirdly tight stranglehold on the 2-mile chasing division this year. He's got very nice sighters with Undaso in the Tingle Creek, Silas Emery in Cork as well. And I would say they still probably think that they've got the best of them yet to run in Chacun Pour Soi. A number of horses galloped after racing in Punchestown on yesterday evening, and a few of us hung around to watch what worked. And Chacun Pour Soi worked with Kemboy and Album Photo and a couple of others, but he seemed to work very, very well, and he's in very good form. So all roads lead to the Paddy's Rewards Club Chase, the old Dial-A-Bet on the 27th of December in Leopardstown, and Chacun Pour Soi is currently the 4-7 favourite for that. Silas Emery is 5-1, and Min, who we might come on to talk to a little bit later, is still 8-1 in the anti-post market, but is an unlikely runner according to the trainer.
Yeah, plenty to look forward to there. Back over to Britain, and we had the Peterborough Chase, with Top Notch winning that for the second time. He's something of a yard favourite, put forward as Prime Minister were they voting in the yard. It's very easy to see why, isn't it, TC?
Yeah, he's reliable. He's small, but he always does it. He always jumps really well, and he's fluent. Daryl Jacob gets a great roll out of him as well. And I don't know if the form's that great. Puerto Rico was obviously second at 100-1, but Top Notch just does his job. And it was a good day for favourite backers, wasn't it, with another jolly going in.
And Tom, what impressed you most about that performance?
Puerto Rico probably impressed me more than Top Notch himself. I think Puerto Rico might be under the radar a little bit now. He'll get another hike in the weights for that. But he's ran quite well a couple of times over fences, and I'd be interested to see where he pitches up. He kind of smacks you as the type who might win a big handicap somewhere along the way towards the end of the season. So I'd be keeping a very close eye to Puerto Rico to see if he can keep improving.
One for the notebook, definitely. And Tom, you mentioned Min a little bit earlier on, winning the John Durkin. It wasn't all plain sailing for him, was it?
No, he kind of looked beaten between the last two, only for throwing in an absolutely massive jump at the last. He sealed the deal. Look, he's obviously a high-class horse and seemed to have plenty left crossing the line. He'll get a quote, a 6-1 from 8s for the Ryanair now at the festival. But the one take out of the race for me was Presenting Percy ran an absolute blinder in third, and the connections were very, very pleased with themselves. There was even a few handshakes going around. They were delighted with his comeback run. And I'd say all roads lead to the Savills Chase at Christmas, possibly with him. And he'll have every chance in that being match fit after a good run in the John Durkin at the weekend.
Yeah, it was a really encouraging reappearance from Presenting Percy, something of a redemption mission for him as well. TC, was there anyone else in that race that was of interest? Hardline looked like he ran a blinder.
Yeah, Hardline did run a blinder, but I'm just going to emulate exactly what Tom said. I thought Min was fantastic. He looked beat, but a big jump at the last won it for him. And Presenting Percy was my eye catcher in the race as well. So I'm also interested to see him next time out.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys. That's the weekend review all wrapped up. Join us after the break when we'll be looking ahead to the big races this week.
I'm Jose Mourinho. I know a thing or two about being special. Finding pastel de natas in a London cafe? Special. Winning the daily jackpot on Paddy Power Games? Not special.
Understood, Jose. Yes, someone wins an average £40,000 jackpot every single day. So if you win, don't think you're special. Dig Daily Jackpots by Paddy Power Games. Jackpots must be awarded by 11 p.m. and vary from day to day. Jackpot is shared with other operators. Available on selected games. T's and C's at paddypower.com. 18 plus BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back to the Racing Review Postcast. We've just finished going through an informative weekend of racing. Now we're going to look ahead to the big meetings this week, culminating in Cheltenham's very popular international meeting. And the first place to start will be the December Handicap Chase. Tom, what's the market looking like?
West Approach currently tops the market 7-2. Coggree next in at 5s. One for the road, Tom, is 11-2 alongside Single Farm Payment. Dandy Dan is 6-1 alongside Doing Fine. 10-1 Rock the Casbah and Double Shuffle, and 14-1 in Bigger the Rest.
TC, Tizard's won this race twice in the last 3 years. West Approach look like the winner to you, or have you got another one in mind?
Well, you just stole my stat, John. West Approach is the winner for me. I really like West Approach. I was at Cheltenham for his penultimate start where he won under a very confident Robbie Power, and he took my eye there. In the past, he's been a horse that I haven't been taken with. His jumping can let him down, but he was so impressive coming from the back of the field. And I just think he deserves another chance after unseating in the Ladbrokes Trophy last time out early on, when we don't know what would have happened in the end. Obviously in a race won by the Russia Counter. Obviously short in the market. It's an unoriginal selection, but I think West Approach is the one for me in the race, and I'll probably be having a little punt on him.
And Tom, have you got any fancies for Friday's feature?
I quite like One for the Road, Tom, for Harry Fry. He ran very well to only be beaten just under 6 lengths in the Matchbook Betting Exchange Handicap Chase, the October meeting in Cheltenham. And that race has worked out very well. The conditional won it, and he's gone on to run a blinder in the Hennessy, and he won at the November meeting, and West Approach is in there as well. So it's good form. It doesn't necessarily infer that he's well handicapped, but he's a progressive looking 6-year-old, and I'd take my chance with One for the Road, Tom, at 11-2.
Excellent. And looking to Saturday, another punting puzzle with the Caspian Caviar Gold Cup Handicap, won last year by Froden, and a few nice types in there again, TC.
Yeah, it's a tricky race. Looking at the entries at the moment, there's 38 runners entered up, and it's quite hard to come down on one at this early stage. Obviously, Frodon won the race last year, as you say. I think Paul Nicholls has a good chance of winning it again with Secret Investor, who ran a good comeback race behind Real Steel, who, although he got beaten at the weekend, is a horse that I like. I think Secret Investor about 10-1 at the moment. He's probably the bet in the race on initial glance. Kalashnikov's in the race as well. I love Kalashnikov, so I'll be keeping an eye on him. And the money's I imagine Tom's going to tell us the money's going to pour in for Riders on the Storm after his impressive debut success for Nigel Twiston-Davis.
Yeah, Tom, who heads your market?
At the moment for the Caspian Caviar World Cup, yes, Riders on the Storm is our 7-2 favourite. Cepage is next in, 6-1. Secret Investor, 8s. Brayland Das is 10-1. Warthog 12s alongside Not That Fussy, and Clondalk Castle is 14s alongside Benatar, Keeper Hill, Goodman Pat, and Casablanca Mix, and it's 16-1 and Bigger the Rest.
And do you have any fancies at this very early stage?
Well, I thought Warthog ran a blinder the last day in the Bet Victor, and possibly is still well handicapped. So I take a chance with him each way at 12s, but I'll just see how the race kind of shapes up market-wise over the next day or two, just to kind of get a better handle on it. But I'd definitely say Warthog is an eye-catcher in the market at the moment.
Later on the card, we've got the Univac International Hurdle, which sees the much-anticipated return of Triumph Hurdle winner Pentland Hills. Having a quick glance at the early entries that have come in, TC, does any appeal to you in there?
From a punting perspective, not at the moment, but it looks a good race because we've got 2 decent Grade 1 horses in there, obviously Pentland Hills and Elixir de Nuts, who was last seen winning a Grade 1 for Colin Tizard. It's going to be a fantastic race if they both turn up. I'd probably side with Elixir de Nuts because I think Pentland Hills will probably go off favourite. I also backed Pentland Hills before he moved to Nicky Henderson and started his jumping career, and he lost off a mark of 73 on the flat, and I still haven't forgiven him. So, I'll probably be with Elixir de Nuts, but I'm just looking forward to the race at this moment in time.
Perfect. And Tom, any in there in the early entries that appeal to you?
I'd be very wary of for people who are considering backing Pentland Hills, as so often we see the Triumph Hurdle winner doesn't train on. Now, I know saying that we've had a couple of good winners that have trained on the last few years, Defi Desoy being one of those. If I had to have a bet right now without a market, but I'd say Chidabello will be possibly a nice-ish price. County Hurdle winner at the last year's festival, of course, and ran an absolute blinder behind Super Sunday in Aintree last season. So I'd be very interested to see what price the traders put Chitabello up at for a show.
So away from the big meeting at Cheltenham on Saturday, I'm going to ask you guys for your midweek fancies. Tom, anything of appeal?
Just one aside from the nap, which we'll come to in a bit, and that is Shang Tang in the 12:10 at Cheltenham on Friday. Emma Lavelle, who trains him, is currently striking at 27%, so she's got her string in red-hot form. And there was no other horse in the last month or so that has attracted my eye as much as Shang Tang, who was given a, let's say, patient ride out the back at Chepstow in a good novice hurdle, came through to somehow finish second, picking off horses basically with every stride. Bumped into a good one there of Colin Tizard's, and I think Shang Tang will make amends at the 5th time of asking on Friday.
And Tom, same question to you. Have you got one nice price for us?
Not a nice price, more maybe one to watch or keep an eye out for would be in Tremor on Tuesday, the maiden hurdle at 1:20. Willie has a horse called 5 O'Clock entered, who was placed a couple of times in France. I'd be very interested to see how he runs first time for Willie. He's got some decent form in France, being placed the last twice. So yeah, 5 O'Clock for me in the 1:20 in Tremor, just for to keep an eye on.
Brilliant stuff, lads, and here's the naps.
This will not be beaten.
We'll start with you, TC.
Lord Halifax in the 12:10 at Lingfield on Wednesday. An improving 3-year-old, unexposed, only had 5 starts, absolutely bolted up at Kempton last week and should score again.
And Tom?
Friday, 2:30 Cheltenham, 1 for the road, Tom.
Thank you very much for listening. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for, but don't worry, the team are back on Friday with the ever-present Postcast. And in the meantime, goodbye and good luck with your bets.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Simply place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week, and you'll get a free £10 bet then next week. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.